Hello, hello, and welcome to our first live stream in 2024. Our special guest today is going to be Miss Sidney Galpern. I'm going to bring her on in just a second. We are also streaming over on Instagram, so if you guys want to watch from over there today, we will get all those comments to Sidney as well. Let's go ahead and bring her on. I do have a special announcement for you about a new release for Cookie Snack Attack, but we'll do that at the end of the video today, okay? Hey, Sidney, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. How was your New Year's?
Oh, it was fantastic. Happy 2024. I can't believe it's here.
Happy 2024. Can you believe that?
No.
I can't believe it. I feel like I just blinked and I was in Florida on the 8th of January last year, and all of a sudden we're a year later. It's crazy.
It really is.
It's going by so fast. So was that video, that countdown video, was that glitching on your side too, or just on this side? No,
it looks fine for me.
And the music was okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because it paused here a few times, but I'm not sure if that's because I have 3 devices running today or not.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I have it on my iPad and I could see it on my phone, and they were fine.
So I have to give one quick apology for anyone who watches the replay, because my text alert people did not get a text today, because my account is frozen, because my debit card that I used to pay for that got hacked over the weekend, and I have to have a new debit card, but they won't let you update that without calling in, and I guess they're not there today. I don't know.
Oh,
so I've been working on that for the last 2 hours, but no call back, no emails back, but we'll get the text alert up for the next live stream, I hope. But definitely by next Tuesday, but maybe by tonight. We'll see. I'm just waiting on a return call so that they can put my new number in. So sorry about that, guys. What would it be without a little tech glitch? Hey, Sidney, did you see the comments for the people that were saying hello as we were going down through there?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hey. They're so excited that you're doing this. And I'm so excited that even though you're in Florida, you were willing to do snowflakes. Snowflakes are like,
of course. No, I love snowflakes.
Big snowstorm here this weekend, maybe.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's
well, big for us because we don't get that much snow anymore. When I was a kid, we used to get feet, like 4 or 5 feet.
Wow.
Now we're lucky if we get 1 or 2 snows that are 4 inches. Like,
oh my gosh,
changed.
That's crazy.
This weekend they're saying 8 or 9 inches.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to channel my inner snowy day, because it actually is a little bit chilly here today. I think it was 60 degrees. So, I mean, for Florida, that's pretty chilly.
That's chilly. I remember we lived in Florida on the West Coast for 8 years, almost 9 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember that as soon as it hit 72, everyone was like pulling out their Uggs and their
pretty much. Yep.
You have to work that stuff. You guys have to understand, if you've never lived in Florida, you have to work that stuff in on whatever day.
Yeah.
Day. It's usually a day, not a week,
exactly.
Not months. Like, we don't get to hibernate all winter in big clothes down there. It's one day here, one day here. And so you watch for it so that you can wear your favorite warm, cuddly things. Oh, Nadine.
Exactly.
Vancouver Island in Canada, and she said they are at 10 degrees.
Oh gosh.
Jessie Ann said 71 in Naples. And
yep.
Hey, Elisa, you are in the storm path, my friend. If it comes the way they're showing it, I think you and I are both getting snow. She's Maryland, I'm Virginia, but the way it's going, it's supposed to go right across where she is. Oh, so should we post pictures, you guys? Would that make you happy if it does snow this weekend?
Definitely, because I want to see the snow.
We'll put some pictures out for you. Now, my mom is like, no, thank you. She's just no thank you, because for years and years, we plowed snow, salted parking lots, cleared hospital lots, office buildings. Like, for years as a kid, that was my mom's secondary business.
Wow.
And so I keep telling her, Mom, it's cool. We have this huge window now. Plenty of firewood. It's going to snow and we don't have to leave the house. So we're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to see it.
Yeah, I love it like that. Now, Sidney, I think that I can pull myself out and still monitor comments, but if not, I'll try to come back. If something happens and you can't hear me when I pull myself out, because I want to give you the full wide screen, then just keep going. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll come back at some point once we figure it out. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate this. And do you have any seats left for your retreat? You're all full up and it's sold out. And
yeah, so it's in 2 weeks, I believe now, which is crazy. We are technically, our all access tickets are closed, but I mean, if there's anybody interested, we might be able to work something out.
Squeeze them in there.
Yeah, and we do have tickets left for our demo night too. So if there's anybody within driving distance of the Space Coast and you want to come, maybe make an overnight of it, we have a super fun demo night too with vendors and raffles and demos. So
that's going to be so much fun. I always love watching the pictures that you guys post. I have to live vicariously right now, but one day I'm going to make it there for the real deal.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun, and thank you so much for your donation too to our goodie bags.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope everybody has some fun. They'll know it's mine because everything about it is hot pink, right?
I love it. I love it. It's perfect.
Hey, anything else coming up you want to tell anybody about? Any special shows, classes, play dates?
Let's see. So I usually do live classes and live streams and things like that every month. We do have a retreat, so that's kind of been all of our focus lately. But something exciting that is coming up is January is our anniversary. How many years is it now? 16 or 7. I think it's 16 years of See Me. So we're gonna do some.
You're not old enough to have a 16-year business anniversary, young lady.
I know, it's crazy, but we're gonna have some exciting stuff going on. So definitely keep your eyes peeled, everybody.
So is it 16 or 17? Which one is it?
I would have to look. I think it's 16.
Message.
Yeah, Dad always remembers stuff like that. Me and Mom.
Message me later. Maybe I can help you out with a giveaway or something.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, that would be so much fun.
All right, you guys. And a few more people. Let's see. Jessie Ann. She's ready. She says she has her costume.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're having a pirate and mermaid costume contest on
my gosh, that would be so much fun.
Awesome. Yes.
Oh, well, I know Becky Norton's gonna rock the pirate.
For sure. For sure.
All right. Hey, Ira, 48 in Ocala. Seriously?
That's crazy.
That's cold, but Ocala's more horse country, right? So you're not too near the water, so I could see that, I guess.
Yeah, it gets cold there.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, how are you? I'm not sure who that is, but hello, welcome. Thank you to everyone who is also watching live on Instagram. We appreciate you so much. StreamYard has made it to where we can stream to that at the same time that we are on all the Facebook and YouTube channels that we stream to. But you guys take a minute, share the channel. Let's get Sidney, get her video spread out there, get some good exposure for her. Lots of people are still coming on and saying hello. All right, so I'm going to see if I can, we're going to see if this works. That's how it always goes, right? Let's see. There, let's see if I can do that. Now I'm going to see if I can remove myself without removing sound, okay?
Okay, perfect.
All right, and you just go ahead and get started.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hi to everybody who's watching the replay as well, because that will be available afterwards if you can't stick around the whole time. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you so much to Amy for having me on again. I'm really excited to show you my project for today. Amy had the idea of doing some snowflakes, so I kind of racked my brain for all of the different things, and of course ice melt is perfect for that kind of theme, but of course we want to do cookies as well. So I'm going to show you guys, I have my cookie here, how to make this beautiful hanging snowflake cookie, and you can see it is actually going to be hanging, so I'm going to have it on a hanger. And then I have a little base back here that I'm going to be recreating out of ice melt with kind of a frozen theme. Let me grab that really quick.
It's so pretty, Sidney.
Thank you. All right, so we have a little ice melt base here. So I thought Frozen is always going to be a popular theme, it seems like. I love the Frozen movies, and so I just thought it would be really perfect with the snowflake to be able to show you guys how to make some really cool ice shards out of ice melt. So we all know, you know, that ice melt can be integrated into cookie decorating really, really nicely, and you can get some really pretty sort of designs with it. But I thought it would be fun this time to do an ice melt sort of setting for your cookies. So using it for decorating and for creating sort of the display that your cookie is going to be in. So we're going to be creating that and then placing that big hanging snowflake ornament right in the center.
Perfect.
There we go. Okay, so we are going to be starting out. I want to make the base first just so it has time to cool, so that it will be cool by the end of the demo. Fingers crossed. It is pretty cool here in Florida today, so it should be cool by the end of the demo, so I can show you guys how I put it together. But we're starting out with See Me Ice Melt. So See Me Ice Melt, of course, is pre-cooked and ready to use. It's my brand of ice melt. That is basically just my recipe of pre-tempered ice melt, which means you don't have to cook it. You don't have to temper it. All you have to do is melt it in the microwave. We've taken all the guesswork out of it for you. You can see it's already in those nice pretty hard candy tiles. And ice malt, if you have not worked with it before, is basically just a sugar-free hard candy. So we make our ice malt super easy to use, super crystal clear, as you can see, no yellowing, no air mixed in. So it's going to give you a really nice base to be able to do any ice malt techniques that you want with it. So you can add color, you can add flavor, you can use it for poured pieces, pour it in molds, you can use it for pulling and blowing. So I'll go over a whole bunch of different ways that you can customize this piece today too, to different themes and different projects. But that is what we're starting with. And now for the color that I'm going to be using, I'm going to actually be mixing it with our beautiful blue glitter. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'll talk about coloring in a minute, but if you can see that, if my camera will focus on that glitter,
it's beautiful.
It's just so pretty and sparkly, but I did want it to be a little bit lighter, just more of like an icy blue than more of a brighter blue. So I did mix a little bit of clear with the blue glitter just to create like a lighter shade.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And by the way, did you see the comment? Miss Iris said, "How do you always look so fresh like that, Sidney? I'm so jealous."
Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Bought some at CookieCon. Can't wait to try it. Love the blue. And Sally would like to know if there's a link to the ice malt. We can drop that in afterwards, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
We can put it in.
Should we put a code up here for them to get 10% off?
Yes. We have your code, your affiliate code with Steamy Cakes. Is it
Sweet 10?
Yeah, I think it's Sweet 10. Yeah.
All right, I'll put it over there. And it is an affiliate code, guys, just so no one wigs out on me here.
Yep, and we can put a link into for it, but the little pop-up that has my name right below it is my website, steamykakes.com. So if you go there, there'll be a pop-up to go to our shop, and that's where you use it.
Perfect.
All right, so I'm going to put the camera down, so everybody just bear with me for just a second.
We're ready to go.
We will get started.
I hope you guys are so excited because she is integrating cookies with the ice malt and that big ice malt piece. I can't wait for you guys to see this.
I'm super excited. I love using ice malt whenever I can, with kind of matching with different edible mediums. So I think it's going to be a perfect match. Let me see what I need to do here. I have my iPad set up, but there's a little bit of a lag.
Okay. And welcome to all of your Instagram followers. We've got a lot of people watching over on Instagram today. Thank you guys. Watch on the YouTube channel. Replay will be the easiest to find there under the live tab. There'll be a date order for you. And you can also find Sidney's demos from Christmas and Halloween, which are both outstanding. And there's some other ice malt demos on there from some of her semi-torch team members. So you guys make sure you check those out.
Yes, definitely. All right, I think that looks good. All right, so just let me know, guys, if anything is out of the shot, but I'll probably kind of try and stick to this mat here. So we should be good there.
Oh, that looks good, and it's super focused. It looks great.
Fantastic. All right, so I have my...
Can you see on your camera? Can you see my little Penny Poo?
I smell here. What's that?
Can you see in the little block? Can you see Penny? She's hearing your voice but can't find you, so she.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
She's a little teddy bear dog.
Oh, so cute. Let's see. Okay, so I have my ice malt here set up. I was preheating, so I'm just gonna grab that from the microwave.
Okay. Hey, Rabiha, how are you, my friend? I'm so glad you joined us today. Hope New Year's was good for you guys.
All right, so I'm just popping this into the microwave for 30 seconds and then 15-second intervals. And so because this is pre-cooked and ready to use, that's all you need to do. You don't need temperatures or recipes or anything. I just use the microwave in a silicone bowl and melt it down until it comes to a boil. So you can mix different amounts of the tiles together to get different colors, or you can also color the ice malt yourself. So if you only have clear, you can also just color it from scratch. You can use a few different kinds of color. What I usually recommend, especially for transparent, pieces like this, is going to be an airbrush color. So I'm using my Steamy Color Splash Edible Airbrush color. So this is going to be a water or alcohol based color. Is going to work best to get like a see-through transparent finish. Now you can also mix in a powdered color. So that would be a luster dust or petal dust. But you do have to keep in mind that powdered colors are going to give you more of a solid finish, like an opaque porcelain look, rather than a glassy transparent look. All right, and then for the glitter, you can mix in edible glitters, but you do have to be mindful that a lot of edible glitters are made from very meltable materials, like gelatins and things like that. So you do have to make sure that you use one that is going to be stable in the heat, because ice malt's going to get very hot. So I use the diamond dust from the Sugar Art as my favorite, because it's not going to melt in the ice malt, and it's just so sparkly.
Do you find that when you mix in the colored diamond dust that it shows up different than just doing the white or the clear or the rainbow?
It's very subtle. I have played a little bit with some of the colors. I would say some of the more intense colors, like the darker colors, I have like more of like their gray and like black glitters. Those you definitely see that it is darker. But as far as the colors, it's more so in the light, and I try and sort of almost pair it with colors that would complement it. So, you know, if I'm doing like a cool toned glitter, I would, you know, complement it with a cool toned ice malt, and that I feel like really helps to bring out the color in the glitter.
Awesome.
Right, but a lot of times I just mix in like the white or the rainbow into any color because I just know that it'll add the sparkle. All right, but like I said, this one, the blue glitter has it already built in so that you don't have to, and we have lots of different glitter colors, but the blue is definitely one of my favorites, especially for the Frozen theme. All right, grab my ice malt here.
Oh, and for those of you that are new, I see several new people on here. You were concerned about starting to work with ice malt a little bit. Sydney has some awesome videos over on her YouTube channel, which I think is Simi Cakes, right, on YouTube?
Yeah, I think if you search Simi Cakes or my name, Sidney Galpern, it will come up. And yeah, I have a whole Ice Melt Basics series on there, and I'm kind of revamping my YouTube this year too, so there'll be a lot more videos coming very soon.
But there's a really good video over there, you guys, on how to gauge how much ice malt you need for what it is you're working on. So that was somebody's question earlier this week, like how much should they order for something that they wanted to do? So I referred them to that video that you referred me to a few months ago.
Yes, yes.
But there's all kinds of great information over there so that you can start kind of, you know, just get your feet wet, study and look at it and see if it's something that you want to dive into. Not the ice malt, of course, but the medium, if you want to dive into it this year and play with it a little bit.
Yes, yeah, definitely. That's one of the most common questions that I get is, you know, how much ice malts do you need for a project? And so I kind of devised my system of figuring it out without using up the ice malt. And yeah, so I have lots of like basic videos on there too. But, you know, when you just kind of get started with ice malt, it also, you know, helps. We have like some project kits too, which can be kind of nice because you have a focused design that you're going to use it for, and, you know, kind of the tutorial or the live to go with it. But ice malt is one of those things that it looks a little bit intimidating to start with, and it can definitely be kind of scary if you've never worked with it before because it is so hot. But I mean, if you make cookies, you make cakes, you use ovens and stoves all the time, as long as you wear your gloves and you're being cautious, the more that you work with ice malt, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. So it really is just something that you need to just start. The best part about ice malt too is there's no waste. So if you're pouring into molds and things like that, you can always remelt pieces if you don't like how they came out or you're just practicing. There's really no waste. So it really helps eliminate kind of the scariness of starting something new, because I definitely understand that. But I do try and make it as accessible as possible.
And I have to tell you something I did like pretty much all day Christmas Day after we had Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
I played all day long trying to make a dome.
Ooh.
With the not saran wrap, because I ended up using commercial grade stretch wrap or whatever. But I finally got one, and I'm just going to tell you, you must not give up after the first, second, third, fifth, or 10th try. You must keep going, because when you finally get it, it's so rewarding.
It really is. And yeah, that's the thing with ice malt is it's so easy to just melt those back down and do it again. So just keep at it. Practice makes perfect, just like anything.
I had when I finally got it and it didn't bust through and the dome came up and it was just the right size, I was like, yes!
Yay! Oh, that's so exciting. I can't wait to see what you're doing with it.
Because it was Christmas.
Oh, I was around.
I definitely had a happy dance moment. Like, oh my God.
That's the best. I love that feeling. All right, so I'm just kind of moving my ice malt bags off to the side so you can see that I have like a little bit lighter tone, and it'll be even lighter when it's thinner because there's a lot of ice malt in here, so the transparency makes it look darker. But once you have thinner layers of this, it's going to be a little bit lighter. And I don't know if you can tell with the lighting, but I have that beautiful sparkly finish. Again, it'll be easier to tell in the finished pieces once they're cool. But because I did mix, I would say about probably 1 part blue to 2 parts clear to get this kind of shade, but you can adjust that, and also again pour out little test pieces and melt them back down again if you're not sure on the shades. Or you can mix in that color. Now, if you want to mix in flavor with ice malt, you can also do that. So you can mix in an oil-based flavoring to get really intense flavors, or you can use a powdered flavoring. But again, remember the powders are going to change the opacity of how see-through the ice malt's going to be. So just keep that in mind as far as the colors that the flavoring is and stuff, that it's going to be complementary. All right, so to go ahead and pour our base pieces that we're going to do, I am going to grab my 2 separate forms. I wanted to show you guys a couple different ways that you can pour ice malt into different molds. So we have here a metal cake pan. So this is just a 6-inch metal cake pan. And I am going to grease it with just a little bit of cooking spray to make sure that it's going to release. So you can use metal cookie cutters.
Can we do a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
Cindy would like to know if you suggest using a metal table to work with the isomalt if you need to use the torch.
I work on a metal table just because it's kind of one of those countertop high, you know, prep tables, but it doesn't have to be metal. I work on a silicone mat, which is going to absorb the heat. So as long as you're working on a silicone mat, I've worked on all kinds of countertops and tables, wooden tables, you know, Formica countertops, plastic tables, anything is fine. Right. So yeah, you can use any of your metal cake pans. You can use cookie cutters as well. So I know you guys have a few of those. I have probably a few hundred of those. And as long as you grease them with a little bit of cooking spray on the outside, you can set them down and pour into them like a frame, kind of like I'm going to do with the flex forms. And then you can get plaques that you could set your cookies on top of, you know, for different settings. You can get a whole bunch of different decorations for cakes and if, you know, things like that if you do that. So just lots and lots of options for molds that you probably already have in your kitchen, which is nice. So we're going to use that for the base. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pour that one first.
Ira, I think we covered this, but not gel colors for coloring isomalt, right, sis?
Yes, right. Thank you for mentioning that. We don't want to use gel colors in our ice malt because the gel will break down the ice malt. It won't allow it to dry properly. So an airbrush color or a powdered color is best. Right, so I just poured enough ice malt to cover the bottom of the pan, and I'm just using a little silicone tool to help spread it. You can also use a toothpick or a silicone spatula, but you don't really want to touch the metal with your hands, even with the gloves, because metal conducts heat. So now that I've poured the ice malt into that, the metal is just as hot as the ice malt right now. So I don't want to touch that. And I do want to pop any little bubbles. I don't know if you guys can see, there's a couple little bubbles up there. I want to pop those before it sets up too much. So I'm just taking my torch and very lightly going over the top. All right, and because the ice malt's still liquid, since I'm doing this right away, it will self-level itself out after the bubble pops. So it's always best to do that step right after you pour and after you get it all spread into the mold. Okay, and now for the really cool sort of frozen shards that we're going to put together for the background, kind of the backdrop of the cookie, we're using the flex form molds. So these are semi-flex form molds. They're essentially strips of silicone. These work great with lots of different mediums. You can use them for chocolate and gelatin, and I have different sizes. We actually have everywhere from 6-inch of our little end caps here all the way up to, I think our biggest one is 5 feet long. And so we have a lot of different options for how big you want to make, you know, different for like showpieces and structures, but I'm just using between some of the 6-inch and then the 20-inch mini flex forms, and our super flex molds are those bigger ones. So I'm just going to position them, and you can bend them, you can position them in any shapes that you like, which is really, really nice when working with ice malt or chocolate, because then you can really make any shape that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay these out, and now the mat that I'm using is a non-stick oven liner mat. We have these on my website, but if you don't have one of these like oven liner mats, you can also just use a piece of aluminum foil that again has been greased. So you want to just spray it down like we did with the cake pan so that it releases. Okay, and now I'm just going to pour again just enough to cover the bottom. Ice malt is very strong, so I don't need too much. And it's okay if I'm worried about overflowing kind of into that smaller point. I can just use a toothpick or a silicone tool to push that up and in. And if I do overflow or I get any rough edges, it's no problem because we can trim those up later and kind of clean them up. And so I'm not really worrying too much. I'm just pouring in the center and sort of letting the ice malt run out. And if your ice malt gets too thick to work with, if the room is really cold that you're working in, or you're just going a little bit slower, or you're making a whole lot of pieces, it's taking some time, you can always pop this back in the microwave and just bring it back to a boil. I do recommend bringing the ice malt to a boil when you melt it, and that's going to bring out all of the bubbles. So if you do have any air pockets, and as it comes to a boil, hot air rises, so the bubbles will just rise to the top and pop themselves, and you'll be left with nice crystal clear ice malt. It does help, the recipe that you start with, which is why with our ice malt, we don't put any air into it. We don't mix any air into it to start with. So that definitely does give you better results in the end. but bringing it to a boil is very vital for just making sure that it's going to be nice and clear. And then I'll go back if I have any straggler bubbles to just pop those. There we go. I'm just going to do 4 of these for now. And you can see I kind of made the most of my forms so that I, used it for 2 sides. I kind of built off of the first one that I made to do kind of opposites and different shapes and kind of have them pointing different directions just for some variety.
Sydney, we have an Instagram question.
Yeah.
They're wondering if you sprayed the mat as well.
This mat, I do not have to spray. That's why I like this, because I don't have to get grease, on the pieces or anything. So I did not spray this one, only if you use the foil.
Okay, and thank you for that question, June. We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
I think you're probably going to get some snow this weekend. Rabiha says hello, and not only do you have amazing videos, but you are so amazing at responding to EMs and DMs.
Oh, thank you.
And Happy New Year, everyone. I don't see any other questions that I missed over on Instagram yet, though, and I think we're caught up on the StreamYard feed.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, keep any questions coming, you guys. I'm happy to answer them. All right, I'm just going to slide this out of the way as we let this cool. So this is going to take probably about, I would say 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how thick you poured these and how cool it is in the room. So we're just going to put these off to the side, and then by the end, we should be able to pop these out. I might put my little fan on it, so I'm just going to use this little fan, kind of blow some cool air over it and help it to cool off faster. So if you hear a little humming in the background, that's that. And that's not necessary. It's just for demo purposes so that I can make sure that they are done in time. All right. Fantastic. So while those are cooling, we're going to go ahead and talk about how I did the cookies. So I have my cookie here, as you can see. So I'm going to show you how I got it into the mold. I baked it. I got all the texture and everything. And then how I'm painting it, different ways to cover it, and also popping the hole in the top for having the hanger kind of being able to display it on the hanger. Okay, so I have my molds here that I'm using. So these are 2 of our molds, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my dough. All right, so
another quick question. Cindy would like to know if the nonstick Reynolds foil still needs to be greased.
It doesn't, actually. The nonstick foil is fantastic because you don't have to grease it. So I use that quite often if I can to keep any grease from getting on the ice melt, because it won't really affect it, but I mean, it gets kind of messy. So, all right. Perfect. So I have my cookie dough here. So the cookie dough that I am using is my sculpted and construction gingerbread recipe. So I really, really like this because it's not going to spread out too much. It's going to be super strong. And I make it so that it's actually a little bit more of like a clay texture rather than a doughy texture. It is definitely still dough, and it's still going to, kind of have that gingerbread smell, and you can eat it. It's edible, but it's definitely a lot stronger and a lot harder. So it's more so for construction and for sculpting, but it has a corn syrup base to it, and so it's very stretchy, especially if you warm it up a little bit with your hands or for 5 seconds in the microwave. It's very soft and very stretchy, and you can sculpt with it, which I do quite a lot, but I love it for baking in my molds. Now that recipe is listed on my website for free, but you can use really any very low spread or no spread cookie dough for this. The more dense it is, the better. And it will come out beautiful. And honestly, I've used like Pillsbury out of the tube cookie dough in the molds before just to try it, and it's worked great too. So you can really use any recipe that you want to.
I love that.
All right. So, sometimes you just don't have time.
That's right. You have to do what you have to do when you
exactly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start filling this up, and I don't really have to worry about filling it all at once. So I'm just going to start, and again, if it's not soft enough when you go to start, just kind of knead it, kind of like working with fondant, or you can also pop it in the microwave for just 5 seconds at a time. There is butter in this, so it's going to melt and soften really fast, but you also don't want to overcook it because then it's going to start baking and it'll actually harden. And I'm just pressing pieces into the mold. And I kind of press it in, and then I push it back from the edges to reveal any spots that weren't supposed to fill.
Renee, this is a Simi Cakes mold. It's on her website. And yes, when I take this off, do you see right below her name? There's the website, simicakes.com. If you use the code SWEET10, you're going to get 10% discount off anything but kits and classes, because those are already deeply discounted. Yes. But I have, I think I now have 10 of Sidney's snowflake molds because I had a project I was working on last year, so I got all of them. You can bake in them. You can do isomalt in them. You can do chocolate in them. You can do fondant. You can do moldable royal icing. Like what that's made out of, you can do all the things in it.
Yeah, I love these molds for so many different mediums. And, you know, we always try and keep that in mind too, because molds are, you know, good high quality molds are definitely an investment and we want you to get the most out of it. So you could even potentially use different segments of this, even with the cookie dough method, how I'm doing now. I could just fill in one of these little points and I could use those as, you know, like gemstones and decorations, you know, jewelry pieces, things like that. You can definitely pick apart the different elements of this mold too. Just like with one of our molds.
This is one of the ones that I got from you, and I used the 6 points to make cookie tiaras.
Oh, that's so perfect.
I did cookies, and then we painted, and they went as cupcake toppers. So I mean, but I'm always telling everybody, look at every mold and use it for multiple things. It shouldn't just be for the thing that you originally bought it for. You know, there's so many uses.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that idea too of, you know, using this one for little tiaras, especially if you are doing like a frozen theme, you know, for cupcakes and cookies, then it will match in. So if you use the snowflake, you also have matching snowflake tiaras. That would be
and
so
I
cool.
love that the little bottle mold, the miniature bottle mold that you did with your Halloween, because you can flip it over and make it a stemmed glassware. And the other way, it's a wine bottle. Like so many uses.
Exactly. Yeah, the one we did with Sachiko for her minis. I love that one too. All right, so you can see I'm almost to the end here, just filling up little bits, and you can take your time with this and really make sure that it's perfect. I don't always have patience to do that, so sometimes I'll even just get it filled as I want, and then I'll flip it over and trim out any areas that I overflowed, but you can definitely take a little bit more time. And usually with these molds, with my recipe at least, because it does have you know, the butter in it that's going to make it very non-stick, you don't need anything to get them to come out of the molds, but you could freeze this to get it a little bit more solid. That way you don't warp the design if you're going to be taking it out of the mold. So when I did mine, I actually wanted to make a few of them at a time, so I did take it out of the mold to bake it. But these molds are made for ice melts, so you can actually bake right in the mold, and that's when you're going to get the maximum amount of detail. So if you're really going for that, like, you know, really intricate look to it, you can definitely bake it right in the mold, or you can just release it. So I'm just going to flip this over and just kind of loosen the edges a little bit and just carefully take that out.
So pretty.
There we go. And then any spots that I see, I can either just kind of push them back in or I can go back and cut them. But I really don't notice those too much because it is a pretty busy pattern. So I'm just doing it anywhere that looks rough. And you can also, of course, go back and sand the edges with a little grater or with some sandpaper if it's just for display. So pretty.
You're welcome, Renee. And June at some point said, that is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
I was over on Instagram and it just popped up on my page.
I really love snowflakes. Even though growing up in Florida, I didn't see snow. I think I was 13 or 14 until I saw snow for the first time. I've seen a lot since with traveling, but I love snow. I think that it's so pretty. And so anytime I get to do a kind of snowy and frozen theme, I really love it because you definitely are not used to it.
When you can stay inside.
Yes, exactly. That's my favorite.
Like from a cabin with a view and a fireplace and hot cocoa. It's really nice. Hey, Jackie Curtis is here from More Than Cake. How are you, Jackie? Here. She says, this is beautiful. Ira says, beautiful cookie.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, I just unmolded the small snowflake. I didn't actually use this one in the piece in the picture, but I just thought I would show you guys because they do come out really pretty. And if you're going to do like a statement sort of cookie hanging like this, sometimes it's nice to just have some smaller, you know, more like edible, not that this isn't edible, but, you know, some more like cookies that they're actually going to pick up and eat on the display board, whether you're doing like a buttercream board.
I have to get that mold. I don't recognize that from my
Isn't that so pretty? And we have another one that's this size that's a little bit different design too that I love to pair with this one. Oh yeah, Jackie's the sponsor of our retreat as well. Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie with More Than Cake. You guys, you should follow her. She has amazing flavors. Her royal mix is absolutely outstanding and fantastic. And Jackie, whenever you're feeling up to it, we need to get you back on here on Cookie Snack Attack. Or
Ooh.
we should have Jessie Ann Riley. Well, she's kind of busy right now. She's got something going on. But whenever you guys are ready, you can come back on and do a demo. Just let me know.
Ooh, fantastic. Yeah, the more than cake flavors work fantastic. You mixing them into the cookies, mixing them into ice malt.
Oh, that's cool. You can use that in the ice malt too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, she wants to come on too. I think there's a couple of you that I've been kicking around an idea of organizing like a triple person play date on here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like to just have 3 of you do something. And I was thinking you, Jackie, and Jessie Ann might be really fun. How do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay. I don't know. We'll see if we can get Jackie to do it. Normally she gets someone else to do the demos for her, but I'd love to have her come on.
That would be super fun.
Jessie Ann's a sponsor too.
Right. Oh yeah, Jessie Ann is a sponsor too. Oh my gosh.
Is anybody else watching that's a sponsor? Give them a shout out.
Let's see. I haven't been able to check up here. Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm just going back through the comments, seeing everybody that's here. Awesome. So I'm just popping my ice malt back into really quick, just to update you guys on what I'm doing, because I actually want to pour this. I wanted to pour one of these too in ice malt to show you how pretty it comes out. So I'm going to pour one of those really quick too, before we continue on. And it also feels like our flex form pieces and our base piece is cooling well too. Right. All right. So I do take usually a little bit of time with this just to make sure that I don't overflow all of these beautiful little areas. I'm going to just kind of do a quick version because I want you to see how pretty it sparkles when it comes out when it's in ice malt.
It's so pretty.
I just love this snowflake. I used it for an online class that I did. I used it for a base and I put a little blown ice malt snowman on it.
So for a friend who has a shop that sells frozen treats,
Yeah.
I used this mold. It took me a while to do it because I am not proficient. I have not done ice malt for lots of years, but I did finally get it to work. I bent that, made one as a base, and then made one and bent it up to make it a card holder, a business card holder for
that's
her.
So pretty.
And then someone broke it.
Oh no.
That's okay. We'll get her another one as soon as I break out all the molds again.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So I just overflowed it a little.
If all of you get together, it could be trouble. I have a feeling that it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Isn't that the same thing?
Yes, that's right. Lots of fun. If you're not getting in trouble, are you really doing it right?
Exactly.
I'm not encouraging any bad behavior in 2024. And Jessie Ann has a torn ligament in her knee.
Oh no.
So Ira says feel better soon. Cindy's feeling better soon. Of course, we're all sending you well wishes.
Yes,
we don't want you to be down. I don't know how you'll finish all the work you have to do. Like, even though it's January, I know you guys are already like tons of work.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta be better.
Okay. I know, right? 2 weeks till our retreat.
I can't believe it. You're going to be on the beach, and hopefully I'm going to be in a foot of snow. That's what I'm
Fingers crossed. All right, so I just took out my other demo pieces here, or my my cookie pieces that I already made for the demo, I should say, by a little demo magic. And you can see, even though I didn't bake it in the mold, it is going to keep a lot of the definition, and we're going to highlight a lot of the definition. It could have a tiny bit more. As you can see, this one, you know, is just a little bit deeper. So if I had baked it in the mold, that's just the difference of it. But I still think that that's really pretty. And then here's some of the baked smaller snowflakes that I just love how those come out. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a couple of tricks for covering these and doing some different techniques with the little bit of time that we have left. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to paint it because I wanted to do something really quick and really simple. Since it is taking a little bit more time to actually make the cookie rather than just rolling it out and being able to punch a whole bunch out at once, I thought I would compensate, you know, time-wise and efficiency-wise with that with a very quick way to decorate these. So I always try and kind of balance that out because I know that we want this to be, you know, usable and efficient as well as, you know, pretty, but we don't always want to be spending tons and tons of time on our cookies, especially if they're for an order and things like that. So we want to just go ahead and I'm taking a little bit of our base white. So this is another CB Color Splash color, but it's opaque instead of transparent. So I mixed it with a little bit of dilution solution, which is just a clear edible paint thinner that comes with it. And that is going to make it paint on a little easier because the white is very, very thick and even diluted in about a 1-to-1 ratio. You can see that this is very pigmented. And I'm just going to brush this with a flat brush, and I'm holding the brush off to the side kind of horizontally and then just dragging the color over. Now, I've also done these where I cover them in fondant using the mold as well. So I press the fondant in just like I did the dough and then put the fondant, or you can use modeling chocolate on top. But I really wanted to keep kind of the organic sort of rustic look of the cookie underneath. So I thought that just highlighting it with a little bit of the white would be really pretty. Okay. So I'll do the same thing on the smaller snowflake, and it doesn't take very much. You can see I did maybe 5 drops of each, and I'm going to get at least these 2 cookies done. I could probably keep going. But that just comes out so pretty, and it's very quick, very easy. But I think that it just catches all that detail so nicely. All right, now if you want to pop a hole into it, of course you can do that before it bakes, but sometimes it goes like it closes as you bake. Unless you make it a lot bigger, you could actually add, if you're having these out on the cookie sheet, I could take a little bit of dough and roll it into a tube to add a little hook. But what I actually just want to do is I'm going to take a little piece of armature wire. So this is just a thick wire, like a stainless steel wire. I'm going to heat it up with my torch carefully. I want to use gloves with this because metal does conduct heat, so eventually that heat will get back to the back of it. And I'm just going to melt a hole. You can do this before or after you paint. I'm just going to melt a hole all the way through. You can reheat as needed, but that way you can thread a piece of string. So what I actually use for string is I use dental floss, and the dental floss is food safe. It's not edible, of course. Don't let anybody eat it, but I do like it because it's food safe, so it's not like beating string or fishing line or anything that's not technically food safe. It is, able to go in your mouth. So I have the hole there that I could put a little bit of string through. All right, perfect.
And since they make dental floss in colors now, you guys could really get by with that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I saw green and red and blue and white, and maybe I saw some yellow over the holidays.
Yeah, that would be perfect, and then you can customize it exactly. I love that.
Love it. That's so pretty, and the detail pops so much with that painting.
Yeah, it's such a quick little thing that you can do to make sure that it's just going to catch the detail and really show it off. And I like to do that with isomalt as well, because sometimes, because isomalt is transparent, all of the little details of the piece that you make don't always pop as well. So even just a tiny layer of like luster dust, even if it's just dry luster dust, it just helps reflect the light so that it really catches all the detail. I'm just taking that dental floss and just tying that up. And let's see, I had some little scissors here. Cut off the ends. Right, so that will be ready to hang. Now let's go ahead and unmold our base pieces. And I'm going to start out with our base. So I'm just kind of pushing up on the bottom here and trying to get some of the kind of suction out, and it comes right out.
Ira's laughing. She said you can floss your teeth after eating the cookie.
It's the perfect combo, isn't it?
Look at how great that glitter is showing up in there. That's beautiful.
So pretty. I just love it.
See it. It's very pretty.
Yeah, and if I had done the blue straight, it's definitely a whole lot more glittery. Like, it's a very intense glitter, but I wanted it to just be that kind of subtle, sparkly, icy look rather than just looking like it was, glitter, glitter, glitter. So that's why I mixed it with
the touch, and you were still able to release it from the pan without it cracking.
Yes, yeah, that's completely cool, and that's because I put enough grease in it too. You want to make sure you grease that really well. All right, so now I'm just going to unmold my flex form pieces, and you can just use those again, save them for your next project. And then those come off. Sometimes they do get some little bubbles or the texture from the mat underneath, which I'll show you guys how to get rid of. Sometimes you don't mind those if you're doing like an under the sea theme or kind of an abstract theme. But I'm going to go ahead and torch away some of those rough edges. So like you can see on this one, I just kind of overflowed a little bit when I was spreading it into the top, so we're going to fix that right up just by torching. And so I'm doing that on the silicone mat. And I just torch a little bit to kind of warm it and start it melting into itself. And then if there's any more that I need to fix, I can go back with my torch or my silicone or my scissors or my silicone tools. And I'm actually just going to cut ends off.
So amazing.
Super easy to fix up. And then if you want to get rid of the little bit of bubbliness, or kind of, if you can see like the matteness or the slightly like woven texture on the back of that from the mat, we can get rid of that too. So I'll just go ahead and torch the back. And I also usually like to torch the sides as well, just to make sure that the light can pass all the way through. It just helps.
Your camera is doing such a great job that you literally could see it change as you torch down through there.
Good. I'm glad you guys can see that, because it definitely, it makes a huge difference to the eye. All right. And I could do a little bit more. Sometimes you have to do layers of it to get some of those bubbles and things away, but I actually don't mind those. I think they look really pretty. All right. A little bit on.
You can watch it go from matte to what looks like just complete wet, like you just glossed it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a quick and easy little trick.
And Renee says she loves the simplicity yet elegant tutorial. And Ira says, ooh, love the color.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I love blues. Yellow is definitely my favorite color, but I think blue goes so well with it that I use that quite often in my pieces. All right, so we'll let those cool for just a minute. And I think my snowflake is cool because I had the fan right down on it. So I just want to show you how pretty, and you could probably already see that. Gorgeous. How much that sparkles. And I did overflow a little bit, but we'll do the same exact thing. Oh my gosh, I just love it. And that's with no dust, no, shimmer. It has the tiny bit of glitter in it, but it really does just sparkle.
So Jackie says, anyone else here love playing with a torch? It's so satisfying, with edible items only, of course.
It really is.
Yes, I absolutely. Anytime I get to use a power tool when I'm cooking and I consider the torch to be a tool, it makes me so happy.
Exactly. Get your power tool fix.
Tahisha's here. She says beautiful. Renee says the snowflake is gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, I just love it when it just catches the light, especially kind of from the side.
The detail's just amazing, Sydney. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And I could do that same thing with the wire if I wanted to pop a hole through to be able to hang that. So if you were doing more like a cake topper and you did want it to be sparkly, you could definitely do that rather than the cookie. So lots of options there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that white, and I'm just going to add kind of like a little frost to the top, or like a snow-capped look.
Yeah.
And we'll probably actually attach these on first.
Cindy says, oh my, OMG, I love that snowflake. Enabler alert. Ira says, love it.
I'm going to do a little bit of white on this one too, just to add like a slight catch to the details on here.
That is just stunning. It's 1000% different.
Yeah, it really does. It just catches all those little details. Like I said, the ice melt, sometimes the light kind of absorbs in. So it really, really helps.
What does it do if at this point, like right, excuse me, right after you do that painting, you spray it with diamond dust? Does it stick?
Oh yeah, it absolutely would. That would be so, so pretty. I love that idea. All right, so what I'm going to do.
I love that your work area is clean and you haven't lost anything.
So far. All right, so I'm just wiping off the excess oil from that base since it was in the pan, and I'm going to torch a little bit over it. Usually I'll do the whole thing, but.
So you just lightly wiped that off and then torched it, and that burns it off?
Yeah, it just burns most of the oil off. You'll still have a tiny, tiny bit, but I'm just going to take, and warm to warm sticks better than warm to cool, so I'm just taking my pieces here and kind of haphazardly sticking them in. You can, plan it a little bit more than I am, but I'm just.
Okay. And Crystal says amazing, and Jesse and Riley would like to know if you're going to have these molds at the retreat.
We can have these molds at the retreat, yeah.
I think you might need to.
Yeah, we can. We're actually planning on putting out, I think, a post pretty soon on pre-orders. So anybody coming to the retreat, if you want to pre-order something, to make sure we have it, because we usually have our best sellers at shows and things like that, but we have so many different things now that pre-orders are definitely best to make sure we have something that you are interested in.
And Jessie Ann, make sure you get all of the snowflakes. There are a lot of them, and they are all different. They're beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, we have some tiny ones, which I love using too, especially on like little cookies and cupcakes.
Sandra has a question. She would like to know, when you see the isomalt snowflake, or seal it, I think she meant seal it.
Yes.
How long will it last, and how would you start it?
Store it, maybe?
Maybe sort. Sandra, can you clear that question up for me?
Yeah.
And just so we can ask the right question to Sidney.
Yeah, I
Jackie
definitely
would like to see your fan, please.
Oh yeah, the fan is actually from the UK. We used these when we were in England with Dinky Doodle, and Dawn found these for us. So they're little reusable, like rechargeable fans. I usually use a flat one that has a little bit wider base, but it's dead right now, so I'm using the other one. This one I have on my Amazon storefront.
Okay. I have one that's like the one that's in your hand, only it folds up. But I like the one in your hand because it looks like that one stands, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it comes off of the base too.
Yes. So her question was, when you seal the isomalt snowflake, how long will it last, and how do you store it?
Okay, yeah, so that is a really good question. I'm glad that you brought that up. So basically, we seal all the pieces with the edible glaze spray. For anybody who's newer to ice malt, you always want to seal those with the clear edible glaze. That's going to make sure it doesn't get sticky or cloudy from the humidity. So after this is all put together, it's painted, but as soon as possible, you're just going to go ahead and give it a coat of glaze over the surface of it. And then after that's dry, you can leave it out. Even here in humid Florida, I'm able to leave pieces out for weeks, if not months, before it gets sticky, as long as it's in a nice, cool, air-conditioned environment. But ice malt's always going to look the best within about the first week or so of its life. It'll be the shiniest and the glossiest with the glaze. And one thing I will do sometimes to help preserve pieces longer, if they're smaller like these, is after you glaze it and the glaze dries, you can put that in an airtight container, like a Ziploc or a Tupperware container, and that will help to just keep the humidity away as well.
Sydney, Jessie Ann says she thinks that small one would also make wheels for a Cinderella carriage, or any carriage really.
Oh, that would be so pretty. I love that. Okay, now you gotta make it.
That's a great idea.
All right. Oh yeah, thank you. Mom was just telling me the glaze is back in stock too. We had our glaze was out of stock, but it is back in stock now.
I need to get some glaze soon. I'm out, and I broke the top on my last can.
Oh no.
Nothing like doing that in the middle of a dome.
Oh. That's always when it's going to happen.
The only dome out of 20 that survived, and I really wanted to seal it, but that just means I keep practicing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm just adding, I know you can't see this right now, but I'll hold it up in a second. I'm just adding a little bit of white. That one clearly wasn't on there enough.
So just adding. You can see that white really clearly too.
Okay, good. Oh, good. I have you guys at a little bit of an angle, so.
It's amazing what a difference that makes.
Yeah, it really just does make it pop, and I like kind of the snow-capped look. A little piece of my paintbrush was shedding there, but I really like that snow-capped look, and I'm just doing this quick. Obviously, you guys can add a little bit more time and detail to it as much as you would like. You could go back and paint on it. You could even put an edible image underneath where the flex forms were before I poured it, and you can have edible images in these. All right, so what I'm going to do, the last tip I want to show you guys before we put it all together is reinforcing your cookies. So especially here in humid Florida, where it is so sticky, things tend to get sticky and they absorb the moisture and lose some of their strength. So what I actually like to do, if you can see it on the back of this one I had already made, is I use ice malt on the back of my cookies to strengthen them. Now, of course, this is going to be on a cookie that's more of like a display cookie, because it is going to be hard when you kind of bite into the back of it. But it definitely helps to strengthen something like this that is going to be hanging for more like a focal point or a keepsake. That is going to help a lot. So what I do is I just pour out either a little bit on the mat or a little bit on the cookie. Just be careful if you do it on the cookie, maybe do it in rounds in different sections. So like do a little bit here first, after that cools, do a little bit somewhere else. But what my trick is after I pour the ice malt on either surface, I flip this over and I make sure that it's flat, because if it's not, and the cookie is going to be sitting flat or up against something, if the back of it has all of these pools of ice malt that have hardened, it's going to be unlevel. So by flattening it onto a mat, a silicone mat, or again, the greased foil or the oven liner sheet, then it just flattens it out so that you can barely even tell that it's there when it's clear like that, and it just adds another layer of strength.
That's awesome pro tip right there. Kathy says she's sorry she's late. She's here. And Jessie Ann Riley said that you, Sidney, also sell the transfer sheets that would go great with this theme.
Yes, yeah, we do have some like snowy transfer sheets and some different designs and a whole bunch of different things you could for sure use in the background of these. That would be pretty. All right. Yeah, and we do custom too.
Thank you for the tip.
All right, so finally, I'm using my little hanger. This is just a little ornament hanger. I bought this in a set, like a pack of them, because I was doing something I needed a lot of them. So I don't have this specific one, a link for the specific one, but I found one that's very, very similar, that's about an inch taller, but it's the same kind of idea, that I linked on my Amazon storefront, and so you can find that on my website. And basically, I just kind of set that right into the center, so I made sure that the 6-inch base was going to fit. I think this is like a 4-inch maybe, or a 3.5-inch base on the circle. And that way you can just hang the cookie right in the center of it. So I know you guys are kind of at an angle, so you'll be able to see it a little bit, but I'll tilt the camera back up here in a second too. Ta-da!
Nicole just jumped on. She says, beautiful.
Hi, thank you. All right, let's go back up here. And I'll try and hold this piece up without breaking anything. All right. Moment of truth. And so you can use a little bit of edible snow around it. You can position kind of the hanger however you want. A lot of times I do those sort of off to the side.
Look at that. Ta-da! Ta-da! That's so beautiful, Sidney. So beautiful. So beautiful. Let me come back on with you for a second.
Yeah, so yeah, this would be the point where we would spray the ice melt with the glaze, make sure that it is not going to get sticky or cloudy, and then you can use it as a display. You can save it in if you have a big airtight bin, you can save it in there to keep it nice and shiny. And it's perfect for displaying your cookies or hanging the ice melt snowflake in the middle for a cake topper. So many different ways you could use it.
That is a great idea for your topper too. Okay, so here they come. Gorgeous. So pretty. They're going to watch the replay. Reminds me of Frozen. You know, you guys, that's why I love Frozen, because it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Hawaii and you could still roll with the Frozen theme. So you can do this.
Oh yeah. For
beautiful, beautiful piece of art. It is. It's really, really gorgeous. And I love that you combined cookie and isomalt again for us today. It's so nice of you to do that, because I know that you probably just want to pull sugar.
No, I really like kind of the challenge of combining it with different mediums. And isomalt is one of those things that I feel like it should be as common as royal icing and fondant and modeling chocolate in your kitchen, because it's so much simpler than a lot of times it's made out to be. And it's something that's so different and unique, and it's just going to give you an edge in your, work in your bakery.
And you have plenty of videos for them to start small. So I think, I like having a full cookie toolbox. And Jackie says, thank you, love.
Thanks.
Mary Jean says, thank you so much, Sidney. This is so beautiful. Thinking about using as a cake topper, but would the buttercream melt the ice malt?
That's a good question. So as long as you're glazing, so a lot of times what I would do too, if you were going to set this right onto a cake, I would actually glaze the underneath of the base first before you flip it over and attach everything to it. So glaze it and let it dry. Usually with our ice malt, because we do make it for humidity as well, since we're in Florida, so it's already acclimated to humidity, it's usually okay as long as it's sealed, as long as you don't put it in the fridge or anything, which will add excess moisture. But it could sometimes, the colors can bleed, if it's on a white cake, the color can seep in. So what I recommend, if it's going to be on buttercream and it's a larger piece, I would put a divider of maybe a layer of fondant, or you could use inedible, you can use foil or something like that. But usually I like to use edible, like fondant or modeling chocolate or gum paste, just like a circle that goes right underneath. You're not even going to see it underneath the base, and that'll just kind of act as a divider between the two.
Absolutely. And okay, one thing I didn't do it with this particular design, but with an isomalt piece for a cake topper, is I actually put it to a cake topper board. To a cake board. Did it on the top of my cake, and then I used my wafer paper snow to make my snow, and it hid the board. So
that works too.
In case you have to let it sit for a while, if it's quick, you have no problem, right? Hey, Karen.
Thanks and the board would be perfect too for a keepsake if they want to keep the cake topper for a longer time.
Then they can take it off. I think the kids ate it. They were very excited about scooping edible paper, so they were getting in there with the spoons to get the wafer paper. And I was like, guys, it's just paper. It's just starch. We want it. We want that. We want that.
That's so funny.
For first-time person, what would you recommend for a starter?
That's a good question. We do have a starter kit, so it comes with a lot of the stuff that you get started with. So the silicone mat, the silicone bowl, bag of ice malt, the gloves, things like that. But it kind of depends what kind of things that you do. Do you do more tropical stuff? Do you do more frozen type stuff? Do you do cookies, cooks, things like that?
Eastern Shore.
Okay.
So what kind of stuff, Elisa, what do you do more of now? Because really when you should start with something you'll use all the time, because that will force you to practice more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Start with something that you can visualize using on a cake or using for an order or a project that you do, because you're going to be excited about that. You know, you're going to be the most passionate and you're going to kind of have the idea in your head. And once you start using it, ice molt's one of those things where you're going to think of 1,000 different more projects you could do with it.
Those molds with those baby snowflakes, those would be beautiful. If you guys snagged a whole dessert bar, like we've been talking about, to try to get all of the pieces, those would be beautiful cupcake toppers.
Perfect.
Like they would be great for a munch tray and for the kids tray, like where they're just going to walk by and like grab a bunch of cookies, or for the adults that don't want you to think they ate 16 cookies, but they really did. They want the little ones, so it just looks like they're munching on the same thing, which is fine. We totally get you. We make stuff for you on purpose, but those would be beautiful cupcake toppers. I haven't done that with that yet, but I think I'm going to have to go back and do that this month.
Yeah, I love that.
Birthdays, baby showers, and the snowflakes are gorgeous.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you already have a direction, just kind of, you know, think of some themes and things, and then look at molds and cutters and things you already have, you know, maybe browse some different, you know, molds and things that you might not have, and just kind of put together an idea.
It's embarrassing, since we have consolidated here at Seriously Sweet and Cookie Snack Tack, everything from 3 locations is now 1. There is a rather large room that's supposed to be maybe like the step down from a master bedroom, Sydney, that is just all 4 walls, have tubs going all the way up. Very organized, of course, but
I love it.
cookie cutters.
It's just
awesome. Cookie cutters. There's nothing else in that room. It's ridiculous.
They're really addicting. You can't just buy one, you know, you got to buy a whole bunch.
They just, and then I did some of those boxes, you know, because I had friends that were doing boxes and I wanted to support them. And so I have stacks of each person's boxes, and I'm like, okay, I have to, even if, listen, you guys, I'm not kidding. Even if I did 5 cookies a day all year long, there's no way I'm getting through all those cookie cutters. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have plenty to work with this year.
I love it. Now, one thing I did want to mention too, when we were talking about molds and, you know, collecting different molds and stuff, it's always good to just make sure that you're using a really good food safe, high quality silicone mold. One thing that has gotten a lot popular now and that you can get, like, you know, the craft store is resin molds, and resin molds are silicone. And so, you know, a lot of times you think, oh, you know, that'd be perfect for isomalt, but you cannot use resin molds or anything that's not food safe with isomalt or with any kind of food, because it's not food safe. So you don't want to put anything in there, especially something so hot. It's not going to also be stable too, because isomalt's so hot. You need, and resin's not hot like that, so you need something more like strong.
Even the even fondant in a resin mold, it's not food safe. So if you're going to be selling, don't use that. If it's a competition piece, I mean, does that fall in the guidelines? I don't know. It's supposed to all be edible. But it's definitely, it's super important to just make sure that you're using high quality molds. And if you're not ever sure that your silicone mold is okay with high heat, like, you know, you got it from a food safe, you know, place, but you don't know if it's high heat, I do have a video on how I test it on the back of a mold. But also you can usually just contact the manufacturer if you remember where you got it, and they'll usually be able to tell you, you know, all that absolutely. And when you're buying molds, definitely read the descriptions. All that info is in the descriptions, and that way you don't wind up with something you can't use. And we're not responsible if you use something you're not supposed to use, are we, Sydney?
Right. I always know, obviously, all of our silicone molds are made, you know, super strong and super safe for isomalt. But I want you guys to be able to use other molds that you have too, you know, like the Katie Sue molds and the Flower Pearl molds all work great, and a lot of stuff you already have. So definitely just make sure that whatever you're using, that you double check. Yes.
And do you have any videos up on how to make molds?
Yeah, we do. We have some online classes. I believe I have those on. Yeah, they should be online. We did a play date on how to do some of like the pressed molds, and then I also have a more in-depth class. So my mom Michelle, who is over here too, she does all of our molds. She makes all of our molds, and she did a whole class online of how to make the different molds too. That one is
now is that online on your website, or is that over on YouTube? Where can they find that?
So I believe that the play date replay you can find for just simple pressed molds, and then the more in-depth where they actually make like a glass or like a vase mold with liquid silicone and all that is on my website. That one's a paid class. But right now, all of my online classes and the class kits that go with them are on an additional sale right now of 10% off. And the class kits are already regularly discounted 20%, so they're actually 30% off. We've never put these on sale before, but we wanted to for the new year.
Shout out for one that I did recently, because I think everybody in the Cookie Snack Attack group should do this one. I think it was only like $24, but Sidney has it's an isomalt on a demo or tutorial on her website. It's one you purchase, but it's for making bows and ribbons, and it's outstanding. And she makes it so, Sidney, you made it so simple on doing the colors. Like I've been binge watching Food Network with my mom, right? All the different things. And we're like going all the way back to the beginning and rewatching things. And so I'm watching these people working with isomalt, and I'm like, that's not how Sidney does it. And I think Sidney's way is a little easier. No shade to anyone else, but I'm like new with isomalt, so I want to know how to do it where I'm not going to get hurt, where I'm still going to get something usable, and it doesn't take me 50 million hours or 20 times like the dome. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's what I try and do. Is there is a lot of classic techniques with isomalt and with sugar that are fantastic. You can definitely still use those with our isomalt and everything, but a lot of things I like to kind of simplify a little bit, make it a little bit more accessible and approachable if you're starting out. And just for myself too, I want something that's a little more efficient and it's just going to be easy and simple to be able to do, but packs a really big punch as far as how they look.
To do that multicolored striped bow, so I was like, okay, I did it.
That's awesome.
And then I did the second one plain, and then I did the striped one, and I was like, okay, I feel better. So
I'm so glad you liked it
and put more in there. But I was like, oh, this was such a great tutorial. So highly recommend that one.
Thank
so
you.
Can they stack the coupon? Can they use Sweet 10 plus it's already on sale? 10?
It's one or the other. Because the Sweet 10's on everything except kits and classes, where that one is with kits and classes. But if you see a class or like one of my online playdates, you can also just use the Sweet 10 code to get individual tools that you want from the kits. Because sometimes you already have some stuff that's in the kits, or things that you can substitute. So you can also just use the Sweet 10 on any of the molds, the isomalt tools, and that way you can just kind of pick and choose what tools that you want to use and what of your own stuff you want to use.
My next challenge is to go smaller. I'm going to go see if I can do it smaller. Minis are harder for me. I always work on big surfaces, so I'm going to start working backwards. I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do. I can't wait to see.
All right. Anybody have any questions? We don't want to keep Sid too long. And could you guys let me know over in the comments? There are a lot of you here. So I feel like it was okay to have a noon guest tutorial artist. I feel like that worked well. So if you guys like that, I'm going to try to slide a few more in. Noon is usually a little easier these days than working in the 7 p.m.s. So let me know over in the comments if you like that, and let me know quickly, because we only have a 10-second delay. Let me know quickly if you have any questions for Sidney before Sidney takes off, okay?
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's just so much fun. Anytime you have something new or you have a color releasing or a kit or whatever, just message me. Everybody just loves you. Aww. So just anytime you want to come on, and we love learning new stuff, and you always bring us something we didn't know. I don't know how you're still doing that, but you do.
I like to try new things too, so I always try and put something a little bit different into each tutorial. But I appreciate everybody watching too.
I think I'm gonna have Kelly Clements make us some mad scientist hats, and then we can have some real fun and really break out this. I'll bring my husband's welding torch. What do you think about that? No, I'm just
perfect. I've used those before. I've used those with isomalt.
I'm forbidden, Sidney. It went badly.
Oh
God. Let's see. By watching Sidney's tutorials, you always learn something, even if you've been doing it for years. Yeah. And how you poured the isomalt today was great too.
Oh, thank you.
And everyone's saying thank you. And they're saying, yes, the earlier time works. So maybe we can do some more like midday ones.
Love it.
If that works for you. I don't know what your schedule is like all the time, but anytime you have something, it's just, I'm trying to tweak 2024 a little bit so that I can work more things back in that I was doing, but still keep everything else on the rails.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And you guys, I do have a special announcement for you, but I'm going to save that for 7 p.m. tonight. And I'm going to give you a little teaser alert. If you want to know what it is, you can pop over to the website. There's a limited supply. It's the first class box of the year. More details tonight. So have your credit card ready. But once they're gone, they're gone. And we'll talk more about it tonight. Okay. All right, you guys. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Sid, hang out for just a second. I need to end the Instagram. So if you want to say goodbye to your Instagram folks while I'm closing this one